Philippine officials describe as blatant lies and illogical the Chinese Foreign Ministry's claim about the Escoda Shoal incident that injured Filipino fisherfolk. The Philippine Coast Guard earlier reported that 3 Filipino fishers were injured when Chinese forces fired water cannons to drive them away from the shoal on Friday, December 12. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Guo Jiakun then offered a different version of the event. Without mentioning the water cannon incident, Guo framed the operations as legitimate, lawful, professional, restrained, and beyond reproach to uphold what he said was China's indisputable sovereignty there. Guo further claimed that organized and orchestrated Filipino fishing boats supposedly conducted dangerous maneuvers and even threatened China Coast Guard officers with knives. In a statement on Tuesday, December 16, Defense Secretary Teodoro slams Guo's statements, saying they were not supported by facts and evidence. PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, echoes this, stressing that the Filipino fisherfolk were unarmed. Tariela also dismisses Guo's claim that the fishers are organized to provoke China Coast Guard vessels, saying it is illogical. Tariela asks how unarmed fishermen could realistically threaten or provoke heavily equipped Chinese forces. Filipino fisherfolk themselves captured on video the Chinese harassment in Escoda Shoal using water cannons before the PCG rescued them. Escoda Shoal is 70 nautical miles from mainland Palawan province and well within the Philippines' 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone. Security experts consider the shoal as an emerging new flashpoint in the South China Sea as China intensifies its aggression in the body of water, which it claims entirely as its own. The Bureau of Immigration confirms that the father and son allegedly behind the recent mass shootings in Australia spent nearly the entire month of November in the Philippines. According to immigration spokesperson Dana Sandoval, Sajid Akram and his son Navid entered the Philippines on November 1 with the southern province of Davao listed as their final destination. She notes that the father entered as an Indian national while the son entered as an Australian national. She says the pair left the Philippines on November 28 with a connecting flight from Davao to Manila with Sydney as their final destination. The duo allegedly killed 15 people and wounded dozens of others at a Hanukkah celebration on Sydney's Bondi Beach. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the two men had likely been radicalized by Islamic State ideology. The armed forces of the Philippines acknowledges reports of the shooters' possible links to terrorist groups. In a statement, AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla says they are closely coordinating with appropriate government agencies regarding matters involving the foreign nationals and potential terrorist links. The Department of Public Works and Highways is apologizing for submitting insufficient initial data to the Senate regarding the costs of the agency's projects for 2026. This led to a deadlock over the DPWH's 45 billion peso budget cut, prompting Senate Committee on Finance Chair Senator Win Gatchalian to call for a postponement of the bicameral meeting on Monday, December 15. In a statement on Tuesday, December 16, the DPWH apologizes for the insufficient initial data submitted to the Senate Finance Panel pertaining to the application of the updated construction materials price data. The DPWH further says that it fully agrees that providing only regional adjustment factors is inadequate for the committee to decide on adjustments for nearly 10,000 projects. In its letter addressed to Gatchalian, the DPWH admits that the initial adjustment factors do not reflect actual project-specific impacts and should not be treated as a conclusive basis for budget cuts. With this, the agency says it submitted a more comprehensive report as a basis for proper funding. The DPWH says it remains ready to provide any additional technical clarification or supporting information as may be required. During the BICAM discussions on Sunday, December 14, Dizon made a presentation raising concerns about the Senate's allegedly wrong computations of cost reduction on over 10,000 infrastructure projects for 2026. But Gatchalian and other senators maintained the mistake in the computation was made by the DPWH. Gatchalian said the 45 billion peso cut in DPWH infrastructure projects was based on the adjustment factors provided by the DPWH. A former Department of Public Works and Highways engineer turns over 40 million pesos from flood control projects to the Department of Justice. Former DPWH National Capital Region Regional Director Engineer Gerard Opulencia turned over the cash on Tuesday, December 16, in partial fulfillment of his commitment to give back 150 million pesos from flood control project kickbacks. Opalencia is one of the respondents in the flood control complaints, which are undergoing preliminary investigation before the DOJ. Prosecutor General Richard Anthony Fadulyon says the cases undergoing preliminary investigation are regarding flood control projects in Bulacan. The returned funds will be turned over to the Land Bank and the Bureau of the Treasury, who will do the verification and confirmation of the amount. The agencies will count and validate the bills to determine whether they are counterfeit. Bulacan District Engineer Henry Alcantara was the first to turn over to the DOJ 110 million pesos of the 300 million pesos he received as kickbacks from flood control projects. Alcantara is the district engineer who approved several flood control projects in his area, including a 55 million peso ghost flood control project in Baliwag, Bulacan.